Hi guys. Well, I did say that some of these videos would wind up being in my pajamas, and I guess I wasn't kidding. And this seems like an appropriate place to start with one of the first videos because I'm surrounded by bottles and bottles and bottles of supplements, medications, all that fun stuff. That's not even the half of it. I've got boxes and boxes in the kitchen. What I wanted to start off with, because I think that it's one of the most important things, especially with this blog, that I kind of used to focus on backcountry trips. And I know that most people out there are probably like, well, I don't need to worry about this because look at her. Like, of course she got Lyme disease. She camps so much in the backcountry. That's not where this happened. I believe that I was infected long before I even set foot in the backcountry. Years and years and years ago, I went on just a regular car camping trip with a bunch of my friends at Turkey Point Provincial Park. Now, Turkey Point is pretty significant because Lyme disease, as some of you might not know, was named after Lyme, Connecticut, because that's where it first started to spread. That's where the bacteria was first discovered. And of course, Lyme-carrying ticks attach themselves to birds and they migrate. So they migrated up from that area. And when you look at the maps of Lyme disease, you can just see how they blossomed from Lyme, Connecticut. So the researchers have stated that the first area where these ticks came into Canada was Long Point, and then they moved over to Turkey Point, and basically that area, I mean, ticks are all over Ontario, but whether or not it's an endemic area is another thing. And that means that there's a high percentage of ticks in the area that carry the bacteria that cause Lyme disease. Not all ticks carry it. You can find a tick up north and have nothing to worry about. Not that there's nothing to worry about, and that's for another conversation. When I was camping with my friends on that trip, the only warning signs that were up in the park were warning us of poison ivy. Of course, I've always been the type to walk off the trail. I've always been an avid geocacher, explorer. There's been research done from one of the most prominent tick researchers in Canada, and he was doing this research long before. I'll show you that right there. It was even in some local articles. I'll show you that right there. And you'll notice that I've scratched out DEET because your best bet at protecting yourself from Lyme disease is actually permethrin. There's been studies done, and that could be a whole other chat too, but permethrin has been shown to be the best as far as what you would put on your clothing to protect yourself from ticks. So a few days after this trip, I started to get some really severe neck stiffness, which is a very common sign for Lyme disease. I didn't think much of it. You know, I've had some neck issues in the past, but nothing crazy. But this particular time landed me in the ER. They basically treated me like I was a drug seeker. And this was the very first time in the story where the Canadian healthcare system failed me. If that doctor had just said, hey, you've been camping lately? Things could have turned out a lot differently. I don't blame doctors. They're not given this information. We can talk about that a lot later too. So I went on to see a chiropractor and they took care of the neck stiffness, which was great, but that was only the beginning of the journey. More to come another time.